actually helped me set up my resume. So with that help, I was able to land a job within the first 4 months of attending school at MyComputerCareer.
A few weeks before graduation, though, I landed my first job as a Tier 1 technician with a large insurance company. And 6 months later, I was actually working as a Tier 2 technician with a significant pay raise. And kind of like my first job, they were also very impressed that I had so many certifications.
You have to look at what you want in life and where you're at. For me, MyComputerCareer was an easy choice because they offered me a better lifestyle that I really wanted, and it was the only place that would really give me that upper hand in life.
The folks at MyComputerCareer are very caring. They really care about our success in the IT industry, not just with certifications, but also with finding a career and really being happy with that choice.
Hello, IT enthusiasts. Welcome to another episode of MyComputerCareer's Get Into IT Live, where we do just that, get into all things IT. And we are absolutely going to do that today. We are here to talk about AI, fraud, and the future of cybersecurity. So, a few things that people are talking about nowadays. And I have the perfect guest to do so, who I will properly introduce, of course, in just a second. But a little housekeeping to get out of the way. If you need anything, if you have questions, comments, you want to talk amongst yourselves, the chat is open, and Patricia, as always, is there monitoring that. So please feel free to do so, and we will address those as needed. So to very quickly intro kind of what we're talking about, just to kind of lay a baseline for us, we're diving into the World Economic Forum's brand new 2026 Global Cybersecurity Outlook with someone who lives and breathes this stuff. Russ Munisteri, CISSP, has over 25 years in IT, serves as program chair and lead instructor here at MyComputerCareer, and is a cybersecurity evangelist and trainer. That's a fact. Yeah, of course. We do it right for you. We're going to talk about how AI is reshaping cybersecurity, the fraud tactics targeting everyone, and what skills employers are desperate for right now, which I think is certainly going to be of interest to a lot of the folks watching today from our world. Russ. Thanks for joining us today, buddy.
Thank you very much, Aaron. I have to say, this studio is awesome.
First time in studio.
This is really cool.
And
so
we're still trying to get used to it. Yeah. I'm still trying to get used to the fact that there's a mic in my face.
I know.
And I said it last week. It's going to be repetitive, but I'm so used to just having my computer with a background in my living room and doing it that way.
Yep. No. This is something different. Really, really cool.
It's a little different. So glad to have you.
Yeah. Thank you.
And for anyone who watches this, you'll know that Russ pops up on our program a lot. This is, I think we're into our third year now, so 2.5 years anyway. And this has to be at least your 10th time joining us. So it's so nice
a gold
to have
star
you.
or something? What do I get here?
Yes, we'll give you a gold star. I'm going to have a trophy for you.
Ooh, a trophy.
Next time. Yes,
nice.
Yes. All right. So why don't we jump right in, folks? Great to see everyone. Thanks for joining us. We got Bear over in the control room, so he'll take care of the production. So why don't you and I just have a conversation?
Let's do it. Yep.
All right. So first thing, we're obviously here to talk about the World Economic Forum.
Yes.
They're just released the 2026 Global Cybersecurity Outlook, which we talked about. The big headline, though, 94% of leaders say AI, something or other. If I don't have my glasses on,
yeah, you go. Put them on.
Say AI is the biggest driver of change in cybersecurity.
It is.
From what you're seeing, though, how is AI kind of reshaping those threats?
Well, that's a good question, because what's really going on out there is that a gap is forming. We have a very big gap out there because not every company can keep up right now. So between the blue team and the red team, it's going super fast here. So, really what it's coming down to is that the cyber attackers, they are utilizing AI at record speeds at this point. But the blue team, they're also using it to, locate things and track down all the attempts and all that stuff. But again,
just so everybody knows, blue team are the good guys, red team are the bad
guys. Blue
guys.
team good, red team bad.
Got it.
And the problem is not every company is caught up.
Right.
That's a problem. So as the gap gets bigger, you're going to see more vulnerabilities. You're going to see more attacks. You're going to see, more data breaches, information loss, and ultimately money, lost there as well. So it's a very tough. We're in a very unique situation right now in the cyber world.
And we're going to talk about it a little bit more, but, the folks, the bad guys, are going to keep getting smarter and smarter with how they're using AI
for
these attacks.
Yeah.
And it's going to be up to that blue team to keep up, as you said.
They have to keep up, and that's going to take training. That's going to take a lot of training on the blue team's part. I mean, the red team, they are crafting these attacks more on the social engineering side.
Yep.
Phishing, smishing, all that's I mean, they are crafting. It's so believable.
Right.
It's so believable, and that's just the problem.
Right.
It's fooling people that are not trained to have an eye for this stuff or to have an ear for this stuff.
Yeah, and again, I don't want to, because we'll talk about it down the road.
Right.
But, you and I talked about during the holidays. You wrote an article about holiday scams, and a lot of those were using AI and actually setting up fake storefronts.
Sure.
And encouraging people to go to those storefronts, and then obviously you're done. You've lost
That's
all your
it.
info. So
That's it.
getting very smart. All right. So, all right, we know that both sides are getting smarter, but there's going to be a gap, and you got to find a way to fill that skills gap. So the report shows that AI-related vulnerabilities are the fastest growing cyber risk.
Right.
So is this kind of a redundant question? What's making those vulnerabilities so dangerous?
Well, the fact that AI is playing a major role, reconnaissance can be done quicker now. They can basically craft such great convincing emails and the text messages. I mean, I got one just the other day. It was so convincing. Aaron, I kid you not.
Right.
It was so convincing. I actually went to the source and logged in just to verify things. And you want to know what? That was a well-crafted text message.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's the problem there. But according to the report, CEOs, they are very concerned about data leakage. Very, very concerned. So what do we do in a situation like this? Yes, we could bring in the technologies that are all AI driven to, try to pinpoint all the stuff out there. But again, a lot of it comes down to, how often are we training, and, what are the best practices out there? Data recovery, business continuity.
Right.
Is all of this stuff getting done? And a lot of companies, believe it or not, their policies are outdated, or their policies they're not changing as fast as AI is developing. That's the problem.
And, I seem to be hearing, and we've talked about it a little bit. It sounds like we have to get back to the fundamentals.
Yes.
Get back to understanding where these things are coming from. Get back to things like backing up everything and making sure that all those processes are in place, and the C team is bought in, and we're training folks and making folks aware. I mean, I know you harp on that a lot.
I do.
Of course,
I do.
for good reason.
And now we are coming across cyber attackers, or I call them wannabes.
Right.
Maybe script kiddies, if you want to call them that, right? They're now getting into it now.
Nice.
They're now getting, because using AI is, for some, it's very easy. And these folks that were not very educated in it, now they're hopping on board, and now they're attacking as well as the advanced groups.
Right.
So now we're getting it from all over the place.
Got a kid in his bedroom.
There you go.
Now,
we got a bored 14-year-old that wants to start hacking.
That's right. Yep.
But it's crazy. And also another problem here is that AI is moving so fast, right?
Right.
What about governance? That's not keeping up.
Right.
Who is overlooking all of this stuff?
Yep.
And that's a major problem. And there's a gap there. There's a gap because it's going so fast. What government bodies are overlooking this stuff, or anyone? You got to ask yourself that question.
I really think we could do 30 minutes alone on governance around AI.
Sure.
And the lack thereof, and the issues. We pass legislation, then we take it back. And in the meantime, there's all of these holes and all these issues, but that's for another time.
That's for another time. No, but I mean, that's a major problem though.
For sure.
Yeah,
for sure. All right. So just checking the monitor, make sure we're good there. We are indeed. Hey, Rick, good to see you, buddy. Happy Friday to you as well. All right. So let's talk about the fundamentals a little bit. We mentioned that. So let's make this a little practical, Russ.
Okay.
What fraud tactics should someone just starting in IT, what should they understand?
Okay. All right. So if you're just starting in IT, the fundamentals are extremely important. You have to know the fundamentals,
Right.
because you can't just go from playing Fortnite to getting into artificial intelligence. It's just not happening. I mean, like I tell my kid that,
Yep.
but you need to focus on, to me, it's big to start to be familiarized and to recognize, gain the eye for it, for social engineering attacks. Okay. Phishing, smishing, quishing. Also,
Quishing is?
Yes.
What is it?
QR codes.
Got it.
So, like you see QR codes all over the place now. Somebody puts their phone to it, boom, they go to malicious site, malware, and you're done for the day. It's a bad day for everybody, right?
Yeah.
So that's very important. Even on the phone, I know a lot of people don't like to use a phone these days, but voice to voice, if you answer that call, you can easily be convinced because you don't have time to think.
Right.
Compared to a smishing attack, which is over text message, you can read it 100 times, and the same with email. Right. But those are the things that I would really watch out for, is social engineering attacks, because it's an easy way in.
Right.
Once you fooled somebody, then they're on your network. So,
and that, just to go back to the voice to voice,
right,
what you mean there is if there's a number that, if you get a call from a number you don't know,
right,
maybe resist the urge to take it and use your voice, because then you're recorded, and then that bad guy can then do bad things.
Yep, they're probably recording you. Then they can take your voice, they can clone it.
Right.
They can, maybe do voice verification someplace. But usually now, I mean, if you get a call, if it's not in your contacts, let it go to voicemail. If they leave a voicemail, then maybe it's important.
Yep. Got it. Very big deal for sure. All right. So looking at our next question here, let's flip this a bit. We're talking about the blue team. We're talking about the good guys. Right. So let's keep that going. They're using AI for defense too. So, the organizations, companies, IT teams, they're using AI.
Right.
So have we hit on it? Do we need to go into this? But how does that work?
Well,
what are we doing?
I look at it like this now. So I've been in IT for a long time, and there used to be the day of there's a separate IT department. We're all in the back there doing our thing,
right,
and you got all other departments, right?
Yep.
And when a ticket comes in, the IT department fixes it, and that's it. Those days are gone.
Yep.
To me, there is no IT department anymore. Everybody is in IT.
Amen.
Everyone is in IT these days. And when it comes to what you just asked, it's now time to start teaching everyone from every level of the organization. You need to teach them about AI, the basics of artificial intelligence, pros and cons, what it can do, especially in your industry.
Right.
Okay. So again, getting down to the basics, education is key. I mean, it's so simple, but it's so true. Education is everything. And I'm a sole believer on that, because I'm an educator.
Right.
But but it's true. But you also want to have clear rules out there, clear policies about AI in your organization.
Yeah.
You truly need to have rules for that.
Right.
Because if you don't, anybody's going to be using generative AI and uploading all types of information and proprietary information, and that's going to cause a major problem. So basics.
Basics. I hear exactly what you're saying. And I know that, Russ goes out and he's an evangelist. He preaches on this. I know that you teach seniors and you drive home, all those points, but you make a point to do that in person.
Yes.
And I think you've said previously that you think there's an advantage to that kind of training being
Absolutely.
done in person.
In-person training is the way to go. Me personally, I recommend a company does quarterly in-person trainings, various topics, and make them interactive, not just talk. No, everyone's doing something. Labs, all that stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Yeah.
All right. All right. We got a sobering one here. 73% of cybersecurity professionals say they or someone they know was hit by cyber fraud last year. 73%. And these are, these are cyber pros.
Yeah.
You've been around a minute. We just mentioned you teach seniors about cybersecurity. What are the most common scams that you're seeing?
Yeah.
Have we hit on all of them?
No, because when it comes to senior citizens, it's a little bit different. It's still mostly social engineering.
Okay.
I'll be honest with you, but it's on different levels. First of all, you have to understand culture. Senior citizens, and I always look at my parents, They are a very trusting group of folks, and that's just how they were brought up.
Right.
Very trusting, and they don't know this world. They are digital immigrants. They do not know this world.
Right.
And a lot of them, I've been teaching senior citizens. I've been raising cybersecurity for them for years over at the senior center, and they don't understand why this is going on.
Right.
That's the problem, is that they don't understand the why. Why is this person trying to do this? Why is this? All the whys.
Why would someone call me? And
Right.
Not be legitimate.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there are certain social engineering attacks towards them. Again, stuff dealing with utility companies, Medicare, IRS stuff, all stuff that they deal with.
Right.
And Social Security, tech support scams. They don't understand, why is Microsoft calling me, Russ? Why? I said, they're my mother. Ready for this one, Aaron? Okay.
Right.
So I get my mother forwarded me 2 emails yesterday, and it was from Microsoft.
Right.
Right? And she's like, Russ, what do I do with this? Is it a scam? Ma, do you have a Microsoft account? No. I said, take a look at the header of the email. Notice that there's a Gmail account in there. It's not your
That's
Gmail
not
account.
Microsoft.
I said, it's garbage. I said, so this is how, I said, basically, they want you to click on that big blue button.
Right.
Because they want information from you.
Right.
That is what they're looking for. But, grandparent scams are popular, So what they'll do is AI, they can somehow do recon. They can get, they can clone someone's voice, like a grandchild's voice.
Right.
And, call up grandma, listen, I'm in help. I need money. This is where you send it, and then the whole story. Some folks fall for that.
Right.
Well,
and it's so difficult because everybody has a digital footprint. Almost everybody.
Yeah.
I know as a pro, you try to limit that a little
try.
bit.
Yeah.
But it's hard.
It's very hard.
The average Joe has and no matter what age has
Mhm.
some kind of a digital footprint,
Right.
which can be scammed. And I think it's really interesting that you hit on the fact that there's Bruce, by the way. Hey, Russ, good to see you in studio.
Hey,
I'm a
Bruce.
senior and I don't trust anybody. Attaboy. But to Bruce's point, to your
Right.
point, I think it's interesting if you look at every kind of generation.
Yeah.
And we've talked about this as well before. When those digital natives, those folks, the younger generation that grew up on their phones,
They bored into
that
this.
are looking at their phones all the time, that are in the middle of it.
Right.
They are the ones that have the worst hygiene when it comes to cybersecurity.
Oh, yes.
Because they've lived. It's all kind of noise. It's all kind of noise. And as you get older and you look at the different generations, it starts to get better
Mhm.
because they're paying a little bit more attention.
Right.
So I think it's important to, from what I'm hearing, to educate at every level.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's funny because usually on the first day, when I teach the seniors, I usually show them some statistics, not to bore them, but
Right.
just some.
Right.
And
To scare them.
right. Well, yeah, to scare. But their group is hit hard, ages 60 to 70 something. They're hit hard.
Yeah.
The younger generation is hit harder just because of what you said, because they're born into this. Look now, babies being born now, all they're gonna know is AI.
Right.
Think about that.
Yep.
They're born into AI right now.
Yeah.
That's all they're gonna know. They're not gonna know how it was back in the day with CB radios and walkie-talkies. They're not gonna know that stuff.
That's right.
But I had a nice CB setup, by the way. I had an amplifier, power echo mic, and a giant antenna on the roof. That was great back then.
Oh, the giant antenna, man! I forgot, but we used to climb our antenna. That, folks, this is what the way thing. This was a struggle. It was real.
It was
there was
real.
an antenna that you could climb on the side of your house that was the size of your house.
Uh-huh.
That was for cable.
Yeah.
So
It was fun back then. My parents got so angry at me because I hired like a contractor to put a tripod on the roof and then a 10-foot mast and then a 10-foot whip antenna.
How old were you?
I was in my I was a teenager.
Dude.
A lot of fun. My voice was all over Long Island. So
I believe that. I believe that.
Lots of fun.
All right, let's get into this next question.
All right.
With AI making phishing attacks obviously more convincing.
Right.
You've hit on this several times.
Yeah.
Phishing, smishing, quishing, all the things. But with phishing in particular, let's just say, how do you spot the fakes? It's so difficult. How can you spot the fakes?
Okay, because the emails, the text
Oh, back to
messages.
that, yeah.
Every piece of communication is so convincing these days. It's
Right.
perfectly written, perfectly, right?
Yeah.
Think urgency. A lot of times, even though the grammar now is nice because of ChatGPT and others, right?
Right.
Think about this. Think about the context of it. It's the urgency. You got to ask yourself: Is this really? You know? Do I really need this email? Do I really need to do these steps? So they're pushing more urgency.
Yep.
So they want. So really, how you get around urgency? Pull the emotion out. You have to pull the emotion out and think straight. Okay.
Love that.
Take a step back.
Yep.
Pull the emotion out, and then think. Okay. What are they talking about here? Do I really need this? Let me call the company directly and just end it, right? Another thing, a lot of people don't notice, and I think this is harder to do it over the phones, Aaron. If you get an email, or when you get an email, rather, right? And there's a link in there, and the link says, it'll say Bank of America. And you're thinking, oh, it's, Bank of America.
I bank with Bank of America. You got to click on it.
You got to click on it. If you hover, now, if you're on a computer, if you hover the mouse over the link, don't click the link. I think I'm hitting it.
That's fine. Sorry.
Hover the mouse over that link.
Yeah.
The URL pops up and you can see exactly where it's going. And if it looks weird or what they'll do is, it's a character or two off, right? Like a little misspelling where it doesn't catch your eye at first. Right.
Yeah.
Then you can see that this is fraud.
Yeah.
And so that's a big one there. But, you can also check the sender. Just like I told my mother, I said, Ma, look, it says something or other at Gmail. I said, why would somebody from Microsoft send you something from a Gmail account?
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And Aaron, here's another one. So for those of you that are looking for jobs and stuff, do not believe everything that comes into your inbox. There are recruiters out there that will contact you and make it all sound great, but look at their email. It's coming from a Gmail account.
Right.
This happened twice to me now. So I engaged with one just to see what they would say.
Right.
First of all, every response was by AI. It was very obvious, and I called him out on it. Number two, I said, let's hop on a call. Let's talk.
Right.
Nope. What do you mean no? I noticed that you don't have a phone number. Oh, I use WhatsApp. Of course you do.
Right. Yep.
Of course you use that, right?
Yep.
I said, get out of here.
Yep.
But MFA, multi-factor authentication fatigue. That's something to be careful of, because if your account happens to be compromised and you do have multi-factor authentication or a two-factor authentication enabled, great, thumbs up. If your phone or email or text message, however you are going to receive that 6-digit token, right? If you're being bombarded, there's a reason why. Don't fall into clicking something by accident on your phone just to shut the phone up.
Right.
Don't do it.
Right.
Okay. There's a reason why you're getting 100 alerts. So MFA fatigue.
Yep.
Keep that in mind.
Yep.
But honestly, when in doubt, just slow down. Slow down.
I think it makes so much sense.
Yeah.
It's to the point now where I get an email and even if it's from someone I know and there's just a little marker or something that doesn't seem right, then I'm not responding to it. And I just step back from it and don't respond to it. And I'm probably missing a bunch of emails I should be responding to. Sorry, work folks, if that's the case.
Sorry, Bruce.
Yeah, that's what's going on. I don't trust anybody, Bruce. All right,
man. It's funny.
Ransomware.
Yeah, let's talk.
Well, it's just it's an old school. Ransomware has been around forever, but it still is around and it's still very real. Why is ransomware so persistent?
Money.
Yeah, well,
it's Aaron, we're in the wrong industry.
Right. Yeah.
We're talking big time money.
Yeah.
And the thing with ransomware now, back in the day, they would encrypt your files and say, okay, give me something or other, Bitcoin or whatever. Okay.
Right.
But now it's going steps further. First of all, we have ransomware as a service, and that's pretty. It sounds pretty cool, but ransomware as a service. So now what these sophisticated folks are doing, they're renting out their ransomware to less sophisticated people to commit crime, to steal money. And ransomware as a service. Unbelievable.
I've never heard of that.
unbelievable that, yeah, they are going to rent out their code, their stuff, their product.
Let's talk more about that one down the road. But anyway, please go ahead.
Crazy stuff. But that's important. But yeah, the problem here is that not only is ransomware encrypting your stuff and demanding payment, it's also bringing down your organization. It could bring you, hospitals, schools, utility companies.
Right.
It'll stop function, which is another problem. And you got to ask yourself why.
Right.
That brings me back. And, a couple of weeks ago, I think maybe you and I spoke about it. Verizon had that huge 8 to 10 hour shutdown,
yes,
which affected me.
Yep.
That
was in early January.
Yeah.
Just in the new year.
I couldn't communicate with my kid, nothing. And
right.
I'm like, how is Verizon? First of all, I applaud whoever brought down Verizon if somebody brought them down.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
But how did a company of that size get brought down like that for 10, 12 hours or whatever it was? How did that happen?
Right.
Where was the plan B? Where was the plan C in that situation? Yeah. But that's what ransomware is doing. It's bringing you down as well as encrypting and grabbing your money.
I think we covered a few weeks ago on our other show on the IT Blitz, just as an example of that. There was a 127-year-old trucking company in England.
Okay.
And didn't have MFA, and they got hacked, and there was a ransom attached to it, and they had to close. All of their employees gone. 127-year-old company with 80 employees is now no more.
Wow.
Because of a cyber attack and because of a ransom and the whole thing. So, just those things. We talk about pretty frequently companies shutting down because of these things. Yeah. It comes back to resilience.
Oh yeah. It all comes, down to that. It's crazy. And also, Aaron, I'm going to just throw it out there, but third parties. Let's just talk third parties for a second.
Yeah.
Vendors. What are their security policies? So before a company is looking to partner up with whomever for whatever, you have to really dive deep into their security policies, because you might be secure. Your organization, Aaron's company is great,
right?
But you partnered up with mine, and I don't care.
I'm taking your data and putting it into AI.
There you go. So then I'm the weakness, and I'm going to call. So my practices, or lack of, have now brought down your company. So you really have to watch out for third party companies, your vendors, supply chains. You have to watch that stuff.
Yeah,
so important.
Yeah, important. Really good. All right. We're doing great here, Russ. Got to tell you.
It's awesome. Yeah.
All right. So we're talking about, obviously, awareness. I think we covered this, but I'll let you make that call. Things go wrong. It's going to happen. It is going to happen.
Right.
Unfortunately. What should organizations have in place for incident response and recovery?
Okay. That's incident response is so very important.
Yep.
I don't know how much a company invests in that. Because some senior leaders think, well, it's not going to happen to me,
right?
All right, but first of all, it all comes down to policy, right? And I mentioned that earlier today, right? You have to have clear, strong security policies for incident response, and you have to have senior buy-in as well, because
100%,
let's be honest, they have the checkbook, right?
Right.
So now roles have to be clearly defined in your company. Who is doing what, and what is your role? What are you doing? So and the only reason why, Aaron, is to keep the panic down, because when the stuff hits the fan, okay,
right,
panic is going to set in right away, because the first thought is I'm being fired.
Right.
Now you got to bring it down, right? So everybody must have a clear role in their company's incident response plan. You have to.
So those tabletop exercises have to be important.
Bingo.
Right?
I was about to get to that.
Oh, sorry. No,
please, that's cool.
Yeah.
Tabletop exercises are so very important, because practice makes not perfect progress. Okay.
Nice.
So that's very important. Now, let's talk backups. Just I know everybody talks about backups, but it's important.
Right.
First of all, have on-site backups, off-site backups. Make sure everything is fully encrypted. Okay. Test your backups. Some companies don't like to test them. Well, you don't have the time for it.
Yep.
Test your backups. And also, data synchronization is so important. Synchronize your stuff nowhere near your company. Now, I'll give you a
What do you mean by
perfect.
that?
Okay,
Yeah.
let me give you a perfect example.
Yeah.
So at home, and I'll bring it to the personal level.
Yeah.
Okay. So at home, I have a QNAP file server. It's a NAS.
Okay.
And I have access to it. It's my own private cloud. Okay. My life is on that thing.
Right.
Okay. I mean, I'm going to be handing my kids not, photo albums, hard drives.
Right.
Here,
Right.
Dylan, here's a hard drive for you.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. That stuff is very important. So I do monthly backups of that to a local USB drive. It's fully encrypted.
Okay.
Okay. But I also do data synchronization. So I have another unit at my mother's up the block where every night my data gets synchronized over to my secondary unit.
Wow.
I got another unit down in Jacksonville, Florida, where at the same exact time my data is being synchronized there as well. Everything is fully encrypted and fully locked down.
So if something goes sideways on one of those, you have
Right.
you can actually go find a backup.
Right.
Right.
So if backups fail, and they may,
right.
you have a plan B. I have a plan B and a plan C
Right.
in place. So synchronize your data nowhere near where your primary location is.
Awesome
Now,
advice. Yeah.
I mean, like I'm using mom's apartment, but I'm also using my buddy's network down in Florida.
Right.
So if something happens here, my stuff's down there.
Love it.
So
Great advice.
no, it's so important.
What-
So yeah.
Isn't there a term for that in your world? Is it 3-2-1 backup? Is that the
Yeah,
1, 2, 3?
yeah,
Something like that. I forget.
3 types of media. No, 3 locations, 2 types of media.
Wow,
One
just
off-site. Sometimes I
something-
forget. It's funny because I teach it, but
so many
sometimes I forget
terms.
it. But
Yeah, there's so many terms. Yeah. How are we doing on questions? I think we're looking pretty good. I see a little bit of chatter there. Okay. All right. So moving right along, we will look at our next question, which is kind of a little bit about, you out in the world. You
Okay.
talking about this. You led a cyber resilience boot camp from My Computer Career at Logicon.
Logicon, yes.
Our partners with Logically. And what you covered there, it was a 4-hour boot camp. And it was 3 and 4 hours. It was intensive.
Yeah.
Anticipate.
You were there for that, right?
I was there
Yeah,
for the first
that's right.
one. I didn't
Yeah.
make it to the second
Right.
one. Anticipate, withstand, recover, and adapt.
Okay.
That's what you pushed. So why don't you just quickly walk us
Okay.
through what that looks like in practice?
All right. So cyber resilience,
Yeah.
right? And I mean, that's what all comes. Again, if you get hit with the ransomware, how are you going to bounce back?
Right.
What are you going to do?
Right.
So I anticipate, withstand, recover, and then adapt. Well, anticipate. You have to. They're your tabletop exercises.
MFA, the whole thing, right?
So it all depends on the industry that you are in. It could be healthcare, finance, whatever it is, right? You have to prepare. You have to speak to other groups out there. You have to collaborate. You have to prepare for possible attacks on your industry.
Okay.
Very important. So what are your critical systems, Aaron? You have to know all of your critical systems out there. Okay. And again, companies that have hundreds and hundreds of servers, you tend to get a little lost in the sauce. It happens.
Sure.
So know your critical systems. You have to pay attention out there. What are the emerging threats on your industry? Right? What are they? Right? That's for the team to research on a daily basis. Being in IT is not all about being reactive. You have to be proactive. 90% of the time, I want my team. I want you proactive. You are to get out there and see what's up with our industry, and then report back to me so we know how to prepare. Okay. So, and of course, tabletop exercises. Then you have second category is withstand, right? Keeping your systems going, keeping your organization going in the event of an attack.
Got it.
Continuity plan, right?
Got it.
Now,
Withstand
again,
the attack.
yes,
Essentially, right.
right. So
Yeah.
again, what I do recommend here is a cloud environment. So, most of these companies say they're all buying into and cloud computing is great. And I highly recommend, students out there, if you're watching cloud computing, get involved with cloud, get cloud certs because it's everywhere. And it's not just about, cloud foundation anymore. Now it's cloud security and it's been cloud security.
Right.
And there are certifications out there. Like I have one, it's all in cloud security. So anyway, I mention that because having a hybrid environment will help you in a situation, such as this. And again, when it comes to, withstanding, having network segmentation, multi-factor authentication, strong password policy, all that stuff, all comes into play. And again, you can use AI here for tools that will automatically detect problems,
Right.
and be proactive to try to stop those problems. But again, when it comes to withstand, keeping your company going in the event of an attack, and that is your continuity plan. And it all ties into what we talked about before, incident response.
Okay.
It all ties in.
All right.
Everything ties in. Okay. Now recover. How are you going to restore your systems? Okay. Obviously, you want to get the most critical going, right? Make sure everything's all, lock and loaded.
Sure.
Right. And backups, make sure those are working and all that stuff. But again, you want to make sure that your systems now come back online correctly and clean.
That's good.
Okay.
All right.
That's recover.
Yeah.
But, but the last step here, adapt, I think that's the most important one. I think the first and the last are the most important because they're kind of non-technical, and that's where your education comes into play. So the last step here, what did we learn from this incident? This is not, don't ever sit at my table and blame anybody. I'd have no patience for that. Don't waste my time blaming somebody because the problem's still there. So what did we learn from it? How do we move forward? What can we do better when it happens again? Not if, it's going to happen again.
Right.
Because if the cyber, if the cyber attackers are paying attention closely, they see that their work has now succeeded. So they're going to try again.
Right.
So what are we going to do better? Did we lack on communication? Maybe,
Yeah.
Did we not have the backups ready, to go? Maybe. These are the things that we're going to work on.
So eliminate the maybes.
Get rid of the maybes.
Down the road.
Yeah. Exactly. And it's all about policies, and then update your policies
And
at the same time.
Think about it, folks. If Russ can speak about that for 3 hours at a show, imagine how much more is there.
Yeah.
Imagine how much more, you need to understand to protect critical systems. I'm fascinated by it because, we kind of live in this world and I get to hear kind of the enthusiasm behind it, but also want to say that education piece, you mentioned it, never stop learning, always adapt. And by the way, Russ practices what he preaches. When he says, go get a cert, he says that because he's done that and he continues to do that. So, never stop learning in this industry for sure.
Never stop learning.
All right. Speaking of learning, you talked about the skills gap.
Right.
Let's help our folks out there kind of understand what are employers looking for specifically to help fill that skills gap.
Okay. That's a good question because employers, it all depends on the job that you're going for, right?
Yep.
Let's take, for example, maybe an employer is, it's a help desk job. They might be looking for A+, Network Plus, certification,
Sure.
maybe even Security Plus.
Okay.
It all depends,
Yep.
right? But right now, the hot thing out there is AI. So know the basics of artificial intelligence, know what generative AI does, know how to prompt it correctly, know best practice of it. We don't just open up Chat GPT or and start, my name is Russ Munisteri. Here's my social security number. Here's my birthday. Upload it. Okay. Now we have a problem because what are you going to do with the job? Are you going to start, putting in customers' social security numbers, credit card numbers, and, medical records? No, we don't do that. So no AI, no generative AI, no best practice. Now, cybersecurity I think will always be around. Know the ins and outs, and know the basics of the cyber world.
Got it.
Know the terminology, know how to defend, know how to be proactive out there, and know what the bad guys are doing. Get involved more in more in their world than anything. Because if you think like a hacker, then you'll know how to defend your organization.
Ethical hacking.
Yeah.
Comes back to something like
Right,
that,
right.
Yeah. Okay.
Certified, you're a CEH, right?
Yeah.
I mentioned cloud computing, huge. Now, there are many certifications out there when it comes to cloud computing. I know, CompTIA's Cloud Plus.
Right.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
And there are other vendors out there that have cloud security, ISC squared, all the cloud. Get involved with cloud. Not only get the proprietary certifications, AWS, Azure, Google Cloud, stuff like that. Those are the three big players, by the way, and those are the most marketable. But there are thousands of cloud platforms out there. But yeah, get involved with cloud computing because every organization, for the most part, they're using cloud in some way. And your job is going to be, how can I secure their environment? How can I keep it secured? It's not about knowing, oh, cloud is it. Yeah, you got to know how to secure it.
Right.
That's the most important part there.
Right.
So I think cloud computing is big. And here's one that is starting to be, that I feel is a problem, Aaron. And, correct me if I'm wrong.
I'm not going to correct you at all.
No, please.
Go ahead.
No, your soft skills.
Oh, 100%.
Okay. Now let's talk that, because
please. Yes.
the soft skills are becoming is a problem. And we need to know how to speak as people still. People are people. We're not going anywhere.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And it doesn't matter what toys we have out there, AI, this or that. We need to know how to communicate. We know how to, we need to know how to work with customers. Right. We know how to, work with your coworkers. And soft skills are huge.
Customers who don't understand what you do. You have coworkers who don't understand what the IT department does.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to be able to talk to them in a way where you're not talking
Right.
down to them, where you're understanding them, understanding what they're saying, and compromising, of course, all the way through it. You've talked about this ad nauseum, and
It's true.
Well, you and our Pathways program, Beth
Right.
Nichols, you co-wrote an article on this,
Mhm.
on durable skills and the importance of durable skills in the age of AI and in the age of IT kind of IT expanding so much.
Right.
And learn as much as you can, but don't forget your durable skills and your soft skills.
That is 100% correct.
I'm glad you called that out.
It's the soft skills. I
Yeah.
mean, like just walk into a store, right? Just walk into a store, and you want to speak to a manager or even some folks behind the register there.
Right.
Some of them have no soft skills.
Right.
And it's, again,
especially right now, not to be the old guy, but especially right now,
hey,
there's
listen,
a generation.
I'm the old guy too.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
This April, I'm going to be 50.
I'm 50.
Are you really?
Yeah.
We're two old
There we
guys
go.
hanging out in the studio.
That's our new podcast, guys. Yeah. Yeah.
No, but seriously,
Yeah.
soft skills are so important.
Right.
And
Right.
I because I teach A+ as part of the things that I do.
Right.
And, when we get to the section, to the objective dealing with professionalism, I really spend time on that. And
Yeah.
I hope everybody is listening, because it is, if I was a hiring manager and you came to me, oh, I have, I can do A, B, C, D, and E. I can hack the Pentagon. But look how you're talking to me.
Right. Your eyes are down or
Yeah.
you're not.
So
yeah.
you're not coachable. So no, I'm not going to hire you. I'm going to hire somebody that has less experience, has great soft skills, and is willing to learn and is willing to be coached.
Really important. I
Yeah.
love it. Absolutely love
Yeah.
it. All right. So why don't we just check in comments? It's a little tricky. We'll get our monitor moved around, by the way.
Okay.
So why don't we get out? There's Rick. If you're aware of it, can you talk CloudBot a bit? Things are getting weird. And that's CLAWDBOT. Do you know anything about
CloudBot?
You
Are
don't
we
know?
talking about agents in the cloud?
Don't
Like
know.
if you
Rick,
go to
sorry.
somebody's website and then like the agent pops up? Are we talking about that?
We'll
like
have to. Well, I'm not sure. We'll have to look into it. I'm sure that we're all doing that right now. So Rick, I love the question. Send me a note. I want to take a look at that and actually maybe talk about that a bit more.
Yeah.
It looks like we have someone over on YouTube. Mr. Mugsley, is it true that ransomware is being coupled with exfiltration and other strategies? How are they doing the second part?
Well, yes. So ransomware is all about money. It's all about stealing data.
Sure.
And stuff like that. If you don't pay up, then the data goes on the dark web and it gets sold and all that other stuff.
Right.
Now, when it comes to other strategies, the only thing that comes to my mind when I see other strategies would be the ways that cyber attackers are getting that ransomware onto those networks, onto that computer, onto that phone.
Right. And I think that's what he
Is that what he's talking about?
I think, yeah.
If that's what he's talking about,
Yeah.
that is all social engineering. Because you want to know why? Social engineering is cheap.
Right.
And it's easy to fool somebody.
Wow.
Because everybody wants to help somebody. So if they are convinced and if the trust is there, then that would be the other strategy to get that ransomware on that network to encrypt that data to demand payment.
Okay. All right. Hopefully that helps.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we're good on questions. So why don't I ask you one more?
Sure.
I'm going to get you out of here on this. So for someone who's out there watching, and thanks folks for doing so, who's into IT training,
Right.
who's right in the middle of it, or maybe considering breaking into cybersecurity, Russ,
Okay.
where should they focus their energy based on what you're saying? And I think you just touched on it. Is there anything outside of those certs that you mentioned? Is there somewhere else they should be focusing their energy that maybe we haven't hit?
Well, I did touch on knowing the foundation. So
Right.
if you want to get into I know everybody wants that instant gratification.
Give me the big job.
I want to be in that big room where all the screens are on. They're just like in the movies, and you're taking your finger and dragging little things up. No, it's not like that.
Right.
Though it's cool though, right?
Yeah, minority report. Yeah.
You have to know the basics. I mean, you have to, because if you go to step 10 without knowing 1 through 9, you're gonna be lost, and then someone's gonna call you out on it. And I always listen. I think CompTIA is A+, Network Plus, and Security Plus certifications. The content is so solid, and getting those 3 certifications to start is the right way to go. It's like when you go to college, right? You got to take all those prerequisites.
Right.
It's like this. It's the same concept. Learn those 3 certifications, okay?
Yep.
And that will get you going. Then after you finish the CompTIA triage, right?
Right.
Then you got to decide, Aaron, where in IT do I want to go? Okay. And don't let people online tell you which way to go. Okay. Everybody out there now has a phone, a camera, and a microphone, and they're going to tell you how to run your life. Ignore all that. You decide what you want to do. Where are you going to serve a purpose? Where are you going to, how are you going to, I want you to sleep peacefully and then wake up the next morning and say, I want to do this again. That's the feeling you want. So you always ask yourself, Aaron, you go, okay, how do I want to feel? Now, I'm not asking you how you want to feel. I'm asking, how do you want to feel? If you want to feel a certain way, and if you want to get into cybersecurity, and that's going to get that feeling, then cybersecurity is for you. Okay, so start focusing on certifications that are more aligned with the cyber world.
Got it. Yep.
I mean, if you want AI, okay, AI certifications they're starting to come out there. I know. That the MyComputerCareer teaches AI 900, which is artificial intelligence through Microsoft Azure.
Right.
But that's just with Azure. But I have the cert. I've taught it. You get a lot of good information from there.
Right.
And you apply it to the cloud environment, which I recommend right here, cloud computing.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
More on the cloud security side.
Yeah.
Okay. So again, I mean, those are all great things, but you really got to know the fundamentals. You have to start there and have the patience.
And you have harped on that since you and I started these discussions.
Right.
The CompTIA triad and the importance of knowing those, because that fundamental knowledge you'll use throughout your entire career. No matter how much you advance, those fundamentals aren't going to go away.
No.
And you've harped on that. And the other thing you harped on to close it out is help desk. Don't be afraid of jumping on the help desk, because that's where you learn.
Oh, that's the best position.
You learn so much.
Oh,
right.
Aaron, I can tell you this. When I first got started up on Long Island, right? I started on the help desk.
Can you tell Russ is from Long Island?
I am from Long Island, and I will never lose this accent.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And it's funny, Aaron. When I taught elementary school,
right,
down in Forsyth County, Georgia, for 7 years,
yep,
while still getting certifications, right?
Right.
Because I knew that I was going back to IT. The kids used to make fun of the accent.
Of course.
Oh, Mr. M, how do you say coffee? Coffee. How do you say water? Yeah, all right, whatever.
Kids pick up on that.
But it's great though. But anyway,
help desk.
Help desk. Let's get back to that.
Yeah.
You learn so much from the help desk. So between your studies, between getting your certs, and then getting on the help desk. Now, we don't get the help desk job and stay there forever. Give yourself a year at the help desk.
Right.
Because you want to, first of all, you're going to learn soft skills real quick.
Right.
Okay. So between soft skills, and you learn what the most common problems are out there. And then you start to build that knowledge base for yourself.
Right.
And then you decide, then you start talking to your, to your supervisor, this is what I would like to do. And then you start to network, you start to show that this is what you want to do. So if you want to be a systems administrator, let me tell you, cybersecurity is all over that.
Right.
So the cloud environment. You want to be a network administrator. You want to be, database. You want to get into AI. You want to write things. Whatever it is that you want to do, that's great.
Right.
Start at the help desk.
Love it.
Start there. You're going to learn so much.
Very good advice. Russ, thank you so much for digging into all of this with us, folks. Again, always try to pull one thing to take away. I don't know if there is one thing, but I heard fundamentals. Definitely learn your fundamentals, be resilient, update those soft skills, and also understand the environment, understand the cyber environment, the AI environment, all the threats, be knowledgeable and be resilient is what I'm hearing, So really great conversation. Thanks for stopping in.
Thank you.
Our beautiful studios.
I can't wait to come back.
You'll be back.
This is great.
You'll certainly be back. We're going to dig in maybe to Rick's question a little bit more. So definitely appreciate it. Do I see Jim Atria? Am I seeing that correctly, Patricia? Yes, you will be called out on. Do not speak without the substance is very true. So exactly right. Talking about soft skills and talking about making sure that you understand
Jim knows
the fundamentals. Of course, Jim knows.
Jim knows the soft skills.
All right, folks. Thank you so much for spending time with us today. It was a great conversation. Obviously got lost in it a little bit because we can do that. And it was an important discussion, one that I'm sure that we'll talk about again. So thank you for your time. And thank you for the great questions and the participation. We will be back here next week, same time, same place. And we'll announce that early next week. But in the meantime, I just want to say again, Russ, thanks for dropping in. Thanks for spending time.
It was great here. Thank you very much.
Come back sometime.
I will.
All right, folks. Thanks. Have a great weekend.